everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Catherine, and in today's video, I'm going to do a hairdryer review for you. But this one's going to be a little bit special because I've actually got two Revlon brush style hairdryers here that I'm going to review for you and do a little bit of a comparison between the two. And I love doing review videos, especially on beauty, fashion, lifestyle items. If you love review videos too, or videos on home decor, especially decorating for the holidays, then I would love if you'd subscribe if you're not already and ring that notification bell. Just as an FYI, I've set a goal to hit 5,000 subscribers this year, and I'd love to have your support. So let me start off with an overview of each dryer before we hop into how they work for me, the pros and cons of each, and all of that good stuff. Both hair dryers are from Revlon and are widely available at a lot of different retailers, including Walmart, Ulta, Amazon, and a lot of other places. I did purchase mine at the same time about 4 months ago, and I'll go ahead and provide a link in the description box to where I bought mine from. The first dryer is the Revlon One-Step Hair Dryer and Volumizer, and it retails for about $60, although you can definitely find it on sale from time to time. It features an oval brush, and it has 2 speed settings and a cool setting. It also comes in multiple colors, although I just have mine in the black. The next is the Revlon One-Step Hair Dryer and Styler, which features a paddle brush. This one retails for about $40, and once again, you can find it on sale from time to time. Similar to the other one, it has 2 speed settings and also a cool function as well. It also comes in at least one other color, and I just have mine in black. So now let me explain what my hair is like and what I'm looking for when I style my hair, because I think that'll be helpful when I get into explaining my pros and cons. So I do have very thick hair, and the natural texture is just a little bit wavy. I also color treat my hair, so my hair is very dry. That means my hair does not like to go or stay straight, and it's also very prone to getting frizzy. I typically only wash my hair about once a week, and after I've washed it, I always do style it with a hair dryer and then follow it up with a flat iron. And that's because I really like for my hair to be very sleek and straight, and I am actually trying to minimize the volume in my hair because naturally it does like to be a bit poofy and it will get frizzy. I know most people want to add volume to their hair. Seems like we always want what we don't have, right? So this hairstyle here, pretty much what I'm going for. And just so you know, this is 6-day-old hair, meaning I washed my hair and styled it last 6 days ago. Otherwise, I've just run a brush through it. Okay, now that we've got that established, let's go ahead and get into the pros and cons. And be sure to stick around after that, where I will do a quick demonstration of how I use both of the products. So let's start with the pros that I find in both of these. First of all, I find that with both, it takes me considerably less time to blow dry my hair than with my traditional style hair dryer, which is a professional grade Chi hair dryer that's just the regular style with a concentrator. I think it's quicker with these because everything is built into this dryer. You don't have to put the dryer down to put the brush through a different section of your hair or anything like that. Which leads me into my next pro with both of these is this is really all I need when I'm blow drying my hair. I don't also need to have a special round brush or paddle brush or anything with me. Also, because of the size of these and the fact that I don't need any kind of special brush, it makes these very, very easy to travel with. And I have taken each of these one at a time on trips with me as I've traveled over the last few months. And, of course, the biggest pro is I really like the results that I get with both of them. I get similar but slightly different results. So with the oval brush, I do get a little bit more volume, and this is the one that's a little bit more popular that you see around just a little bit more. You see people talk about a little bit more, but I'll tell you, I was always freaked out about it because it says Volumizer in the name of the product, and like I explained earlier, I never want to add volume to my hair. I do find that when I blow dry my hair with this one, it does have a little bit more volume. It's a little bit fuller, but it's not too much. It's definitely nothing that keeps me from using it. And then I do get a little bit more of a curl under because it is an oval or roundish type brush, and so that does give me just a little bit more of that, which isn't as much my preference, but if I start off the week with a little bit more of that roundness, by the end of the week, it doesn't quite keep that same level, and so it ends up getting to a really good place. This is the hairdryer that I used this week, and so you can see that after 6 days, my hair doesn't have a lot of that fullness. It's really hanging exactly how I like. With the paddle brush, I get a sleeker result from the beginning. I don't get as much volume, which I'm okay with, and it definitely makes it a lot straighter, especially at the ends from the very first day. So I slightly prefer how the ends of my hair look from the get-go. However, as I go throughout the week, because it starts off so straight, I do sometimes find that by, day 4, day 5, day 6, it does want to start flipping out a little bit. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that my hair is kind of shoulder length. I'm wearing it shoulder length these days, and so when it gets to my shoulders, sometimes that makes it want to flip out. And of course, I could fix that by flat ironing it, on those mornings towards the end of the week. But I'm trying to apply as little heat as possible to my hair these days. So if I can get by with only applying heat on the day that I actually wash and initially style it, then that's great. So I have gone back and forth between these two over the last 4 months, and a lot of times it just depends on what I have coming up for that week and when I want my hair to look kind of my favorite or the best as to which one I end up using. Now let's discuss the cons, and we'll start off the one that both of these share in common. So the first con is going to be that you don't have a heat setting on here. You can't adjust the heat. You can only change the speed. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to apply as little heat to my hair these days as possible, so I would much prefer to have a heat setting rather than the speed setting, because I'm almost always going to want to use the high speed, but I would like to be able to ratchet down the heat, and you can't do that with these. The next con that both of these have is with the cool setting and the fact that it is actually down here, which is where you turn it on, then cool, low, or high. You move this around, and that is a little bit hard to do while you're in the process of blow drying your hair. If you're doing this, you have to kind of stop, twist it around, go back, twist it back to switch between the cool and the high or low setting. I would prefer if they had a button that was more like a cool shot feature where you could just be blow drying your hair and then tap the button to get the cool air, then take your finger off and get the heat again and be able to keep going. I do have a video that goes really in depth into how I do my hair, starting all the way with how I shampoo and condition it, then the techniques I use when I blow dry it to how I flat iron it, and I'll go ahead and link to that video down in the description box below. Of course, that's using the more traditional style hair dryer, but some of the features that I talk about apply no matter what type of hair dryer you're using, such as why it is that I like to use the cool feature and not just the heat feature. Another con found on both of these is that the cord is a little bit short. It's only 6 foot in length on both of them. And I know 6 feet may seem like a lot of length, but it's not really that much length when you take into account being able to get from wherever your plug is, out to the counter, out to where you stand, and then having room to move around. Most professional style hair dryers have cords that are more like 10 to 12 feet long. And this hair dryer does market itself as the Pro Collection, but I don't think that my hairstylist, for instance, would use anything with a cord this short. Now, it's not a huge con, it's something that is workable, but I have found myself a couple of times as, I'm kind of moving around and turning my head to look in the mirror and those kinds of things, get to the end and kind of pull, and I have to inch myself back closer to the plug-in in the wall. So just wanted to point that out. And then the last con that I experience with both of these hair dryers is I find that it's a little bit tough to get the crown or the roots of my hair really dry. And that's just because of the way the hair dryer's made. Since there's not really a concentrator to be able to concentrate that hair right there, when I start to pull this through, I'm starting a couple of inches down from the root of the hair, and so unless I just want to sit this on top of my head, there's not really a good way to get the hair dry. So typically what I do after I blow dry my hair is I just wait a little bit longer before I actually go in and flat iron it so that part can fully dry as well. I have also played around with bringing out my old hair dryer and just running it along the roots, but obviously that's not ideal on a every time basis. You don't want to need multiple hair dryers just to get your hair done. So if you've used one of these types of hair dryers in the past and you have maybe a better technique for how to blow dry at the roots and really get that dry, please leave that down in the comments below. I'd really appreciate knowing that, and there's probably others watching this that would like to know it as well. Oh, and I do actually have one more con for both of these, and that is I do experience a little bit more flyaways, especially with my broken hair, you know, the hair that's a little bit shorter than the rest. And I think that's because, once again, since you're not concentrating it and being able to blow it down in the direction that you want, when I'm done, I sometimes find that my broken hair, you know, is a little bit more like sticking out. And of course that's easily remedied when I go to flat iron it and I use my shine serum. That kind of helps pat it back in place, but I did want to point that out. And then I do have one con that's only related to the paddle brush style, and that is that the barrel right in here will get really hot after about 15 minutes. And it does take me about 15 to 20 minutes to blow dry my hair with both of these, whereas a traditional hair dryer, it actually takes about 30. So you can see how much time I cut off. But close to the 15-minute mark is when I find that this one starts to get really hot right in here. And this one is obviously designed to hold your hand right here. It's got ridges where your thumb goes, but this is where it gets especially hot. So after about that 15-minute mark, I find myself inching my hand further down, but then it's not quite as comfortable and convenient to go around. But I don't experience that with the other one. So those are all of my cons. The pros definitely outweigh the cons for these. So I plan to continue using this brush style hair dryer in the future and don't see myself going back to a traditional style, even if I need to get replacements for these someday. So now I'll show a quick side-by-side demo of me using these and explain how I find that they work best for me. But since you're still here, hopefully that means that you're finding this video helpful or you're enjoying it. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. It's just right down there. You can do it while the video's still going, but I'll go ahead and wait for it. Do it? Okay. So here I've got freshly washed hair that's about 10 minutes out of getting out of the shower, so it is a little bit drier. The method that I use for both of these is very similar. I start at the top of my hair because that's the part that's most important, that I get it looking good, that I get it dried so it doesn't start to want to dry wavy. I find that once my hair starts to dry in the shape it naturally goes to, it's almost impossible to make it go straight. So I want to make sure that the top is well done before I move on to the underneath. So I will go around the top of my hair all the way from starting with the fronts, with the sides, and then to the back. Once I get that done, I start to move to some of the underneath layers of my hair. The great thing about using these brush style dryers is I just can flip my hair around and even kind of brush it out of the way to be able to get better access to the underneath layers of my hair. I don't need clips, I don't need anything else other than basically the brush style dryer. Of course, with the oval one, since it is more of a round or oval shaped brush, I do treat it like I would when I'm using a round brush, where I don't really brush through as much. I come from underneath and kind of pull it through, wrap the hair around, work it back up and back down. Whereas with the paddle brush, I'm able to really brush it from underneath or the top as I'm moving it around. So it makes it a tad bit easier to use, but since I'm used to using a round brush with my hair, it doesn't make the oval one any harder to use for me, therefore it doesn't make it a con or anything. And this process will continue for about 15 to 20 minutes, working my way around my hair. I do come back to the top and do it again, and really just make sure that my hair is staying straight, even when I'm flipping it from side to side. With the oval brush, I do sometimes kick it out from the top to try to get out some of that round or fullness at the bottom. Since it's a little bit more natural to use the paddle brush both under and over, I'm getting that by default with the paddle brush. Now you can see what the results look like between the two. Obviously, I do have more fullness with the oval brush and a little bit more straight sleekness with the paddle brush. In either case, my next step is to follow up with my hair straightener. So I won't show you how I flat iron my hair, but I do basically run it through and then you can see the results from each. It does help with the fullness of the volumizing hairdryer, just making it a little bit flatter, but I still have a good bit of volume. And with the paddle brush, it really just locks in that nice, sleek, straight style. So there's my review and comparison on my two different Revlon brush style hairdryers. I know there's a lot of other brush style hairdryers out on the market from more expensive brands. Drybar is the other one that I've seen a lot out there. So now that I actually know that I like these, when I get to the point where I might need to replace them, I wouldn't mind upgrading and maybe getting something that has some of the features that I did note in my cons that I feel like are missing from these. Have you used a brush style hairdryer before? If so, let me know which one and let me know your experience. I always love to learn more from other people, just like I like to share my knowledge with you. And now's the time that if I didn't convince you to subscribe or like the video earlier, this would be a great time to do that. I really do appreciate your support as I'm growing my channel. Otherwise, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.